Fans can't believe it. Jinger Duggar finally exposes her family's darkest secrets. Jinger Duggar finally exposes her family's darkest secrets. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. In the world of American reality television, few families have captured as much attention, controversy, and curiosity as the Duggars, the conservative Christian family from Arkansas who became household names through TLC's hit series 19 Kids and Counting. But now, after years of silence, obedience, and carefully maintained public appearances, Jinger Duggar Vuolo, the sixth child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, has done the unthinkable. She's spoken out not just in whispers or vague interviews, but with brutal honesty, pulling the curtain back on a world that millions of fans thought they knew. What she reveals has shocked even the most loyal Duggar supporters, and it's left the world asking one burning question: what was really happening behind those smiling family photos and cheerful TV moments? The perfect family that wasn't. For years, the Duggar family seemed like the ideal model of faith, family, and traditional values. Jim Bob and Michelle, the proud parents of 19 children, often preached about modesty, purity, and complete submission to God's plan. Their show became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring some and disturbing others. To outsiders, the Duggars appeared disciplined, organized, and unshakably united. Their home was filled with laughter, prayer, and endless rules, strict dress codes, no dating, only courting, no dancing, no music with a worldly beat. But to Jinger, those smiling days were not always filled with peace. In her recent revelations, she describes a life governed by fear rather than faith. Fear of sin, fear of punishment, fear of doing something as simple as wearing pants or listening to pop music. We weren't just living for God, Jinger wrote. We were living in constant fear of making him angry. The power of control at the heart of the Duggar world was Bill Gothard's Institute in Basic Life Principles, IBLP, a fundamentalist organization that shaped nearly every belief the family held. The IBLP's teachings promised protection from evil if followers strictly obeyed a list of rules: obey authority without question, avoid modern culture, and especially, never rebel. Jinger explains that under these teachings, her parents believed they were shielding their children from worldly corruption. But in reality, the system gave immense power to male authority figures, especially her father, Jim Bob Duggar. Dad was not just our father, Jinger revealed. He was our spiritual gatekeeper. Every decision had to go through him: what we wore, who we talked to, how we prayed. She recalls how her teenage years were filled with internal conflict. On one hand, she loved her family deeply. On the other, she began noticing cracks in the perfect image her parents projected to the world. The breaking point: the Josh Duggar scandal. In 2015, the Duggar family's reputation collapsed overnight. The world learned that Josh Duggar, the eldest son, had molested several young girls when he was a teenager, including his own sisters. The news sent shockwaves across America. TLC immediately canceled 19 Kids and Counting. Fans were outraged. Sponsors withdrew support. But for Jinger, it was personal devastation. That was the moment everything I believed in started to crumble, she admitted. We were told to forgive, to move on, to protect the family image. But how could we? The pain was real. She describes sitting in silence as the media storm exploded, while her parents scrambled to control the narrative. Every word spoken to the public had to be approved. No one was allowed to deviate from the official story. Behind closed doors, Jinger felt trapped, torn between loyalty to her family and the truth she could no longer ignore: marriage and escape. In 2016, Jinger married Jeremy Vuolo, a former professional soccer player turned pastor. For many fans, their wedding seemed like another fairy tale chapter in the Duggar saga. But for Jinger, it was her first real step toward freedom. Jeremy introduced her to a different world, one where faith wasn't measured by fear, and where she could finally ask questions without guilt. Jeremy never forced me to believe something just because someone said it was true, Jinger explained. He encouraged me to read the Bible for myself, to think, to breathe. Gradually, she started breaking free from the strict rules she grew up with. She began wearing pants. She listened to music she once believed was sinful. She moved away from Arkansas and settled in Los Angeles, far from her family's control, but her decision came at a heavy cost. Some family members distanced themselves. Others accused her of rebellion. Fans speculated about family feuds, and tabloids claimed she was turning against her roots. Still, Jinger stood firm. "Leaving that mindset didn't mean leaving my faith," she said. "It meant finding it." The book that changed everything in 2023, Jinger published her memoir, Becoming Free Indeed. The book was more than a story. It was a declaration of independence. In its pages, she opened up about years of mental bondage under the IBLP teachings. She described how Gothard's system convinced followers that suffering was divine punishment, and how it distorted her understanding of God's love. "I was raised to believe that if I followed all the rules, I'd be blessed. If I didn't, I'd be cursed," Jinger wrote. "That's not faith, that's fear." Her honesty struck a nerve. Many former fundamentalists praised her for her courage. But within the Duggar household, the silence was deafening. Jim Bob and Michelle released a carefully worded statement praising Jinger's heart for the Lord, but insiders claim the book caused deep tension within the family. Some siblings reportedly supported her privately, while others felt betrayed. Jinger didn't name names, but she made it clear she wasn't out to destroy anyone. "I love my family," she said. But love doesn't mean silence. The secrets fans never knew. As Jinger continued to speak out, she revealed haunting details that fans had long suspected but never confirmed. She described how growing up in the Duggar home meant constant surveillance, every action monitored, every mistake recorded. Even friendships were restricted. Jinger said she was discouraged from forming close bonds outside the family or questioning authority figures. "We were taught that questioning leadership was the same as questioning God," she said. Dating was another forbidden topic. Instead of normal relationships, the Duggars practiced courtship and arrangement where parents oversaw every text, call, and even physical touch. "We couldn't hug, we couldn't hold hands until engagement," Jinger explained. "We believed love meant total purity, but it also meant total control." Behind the cameras, stress and exhaustion often overwhelmed the family. The pressure to appear perfect for television, to uphold their moral image, weighed heavily, especially on the older daughters who helped raise their younger siblings. "We were kids taking care of kids," Jinger said softly. "We smiled because we had to." Rebuilding herself, Jinger's journey away from her family's ideology wasn't easy. There were nights filled with doubt and fear, the lingering voice in her head that told her she was sinning just by questioning the rules. Therapy and prayer became her lifelines. She began to separate faith from fear and discovered that spirituality could coexist with freedom. "I still love Jesus," she said. "But now I follow him because I want to, not because I'm terrified of punishment." Jeremy supported her every step of the way, often encouraging her to face her trauma head-on. Together, they started a podcast and began sharing glimpses of their more modern, balanced lifestyle. Fans noticed how different she looked, confident, happy, and glowing. The once silent Duggar daughter had found her voice. The family fallout, of course. Not everyone was happy with Jinger's transformation. Reports suggest that Jim Bob felt deeply hurt by her book, believing she'd turned her back on the family's values. Some siblings reportedly refused to appear with her publicly, but Jinger has stayed calm, refusing to attack anyone directly. She insists her purpose isn't revenge, it's healing. "I'm not here to expose my parents as villains," she clarified. "I just want people to know that blind faith can be dangerous." Still, her words have sparked uncomfortable questions about the entire Duggar empire, especially about IBLP's lasting influence and how many of the Duggar children still follow it. Her courage inspired other ex-fundamentalists to speak out too. Online forums, podcasts, and YouTube channels have since exploded with former IBLP members sharing eerily similar stories. And through it all, Jinger remains a quiet symbol of resilience, proof that even from the most controlled environments, freedom is possible. The cost of truth. The truth, however, has a price. Jinger admits that being open about her family's secrets hasn't been easy. Hate messages, threats, and online criticism still flood her social media. Some fans accuse her of biting the hand that fed her, but she stands by her decision. "If my story helps even one person break free from fear, it's worth it," she said. Despite the backlash, she continues to advocate for awareness around spiritual abuse and control within religious communities. She supports survivors, shares resources, and uses her platform to start conversations that were once forbidden in her household. A new kind of faith. Today, Jinger and Jeremy live in California with their 2 daughters. They attend a small local church, not affiliated with IBLP, and focus on raising their kids in an environment filled with love, not rules. She says her goal now is to show that faith can exist without oppression. "God isn't a tyrant," she said in one interview. "He's love. That's what I missed growing up, and that's what I want my children to know." Her evolution mirrors that of countless others who grew up in strict religious homes, and her honesty has made her a voice for change in modern Christianity. From a reality TV child star to a thoughtful author and mother, Jinger's story has come full circle. The girl who once lived in fear now speaks freely. The daughter who once obeyed without question now stands strong in her truth. The legacy she's redefining, the Duggar legacy, may never recover from the scandals and controversies that have surrounded it. Josh Duggar's imprisonment for child sexual abuse materials, the family's fractured relationships, and ongoing public scrutiny have left scars that can't easily heal. But Jinger's courage has given hope to many, proving that even those raised under extreme control can reclaim their lives. My past
doesn't define me, she said.
"It shaped me, but it doesn't own me." Her story isn't about rebellion. It's about redemption. It's about confronting pain, finding freedom, and choosing light over darkness. And while the Duggars may never be the same again, Jinger's voice ensures that their legacy will no longer be told only through the lens of silence. Fans across social media have flooded Jinger's pages with messages of love, admiration, and shock. Comments like, "You're so brave," "Thank you for telling the truth," and "I can't believe how much you've endured," pour in daily. Many longtime viewers of 19 Kids and Counting say they finally understand why Jinger always seemed different. More curious, more restless, more human. Others have expressed heartbreak, realizing how much pain was hidden behind the family's seemingly perfect facade. Still, Jinger's fans continue to support her, buying her book, attending her signings, and sharing clips from her interviews. In a world that once saw her only as a daughter in a giant family, she's finally recognized as her own person. A woman who broke the cycle and spoke the truth. What comes next? As for the future, Jinger remains hopeful. She continues writing, podcasting, and connecting with people who share her journey. There are rumors that she might even produce her own documentary, one that focuses on healing, recovery, and faith after fundamentalism. "I don't want to dwell on the darkness," she said. "I want to help others find their way out of it." The Duggar story may have started as a tale of faith and family, but thanks to Jinger, it's evolving into something deeper, a story about courage, truth, and breaking generational chains. Final thoughts. For years, fans believed the Duggar family was the perfect example of Christian virtue. Now, Jinger Duggar has shown the world the truth, that perfection was an illusion, and that behind every smiling photo was a story waiting to be told. Her bravery is rewriting the narrative, inspiring others to question, to heal, and to speak. And though it may have taken her years to find her voice, Jinger Duggar has proven one thing beyond doubt: silence protects power, but truth sets you free. Double joy in the Duggar family. Jess's twin miracle and Josie's wedding of a lifetime. The morning that changed everything. It was a crisp Sunday morning in Arkansas when the Duggar family home stirred with unusual excitement. The air felt lighter, and sunlight filtered through the white curtains in Jessa Seawald's room. She was already awake, feeling the familiar flutter in her belly. But today, something was different. Jessa had been expecting her baby for weeks, but no one knew that she was secretly preparing for something more: twins. She and Ben Seawald had kept the surprise from even their closest family members. They wanted it to be a moment everyone would remember. As contractions began early that morning, Ben helped her breathe through the pain, whispering words of faith and comfort. "God's got us," Jess, said softly, brushing her hair back. Jessa smiled through her tears. "He always does," By the time Michelle Duggar arrived to help her daughter, the family's midwife was already setting up. The hallway filled with soft voices, prayers, and the faint hum of anticipation. Meanwhile, downstairs, the younger Duggar siblings were bustling around, preparing decorations for another big event, Josie Duggar's wedding rehearsal dinner. It was a day that would soon turn into one of the most unforgettable in Duggar family history, Josie's wedding countdown. Josie Duggar, the baby of the famous family, was no longer a little girl. At 25, she stood in front of her mirror, adjusting her veil. Her reflection was radiant, glowing with joy, yet touched by nostalgia. She thought back to her childhood days when she was known as the tiniest miracle baby, born 3 months premature and fighting for every breath. And now, that same girl was preparing to walk down the aisle. Her fiancé, Caleb Richardson, was a kind-hearted man who shared her strong faith. The two had met at a church mission in Tennessee and had been inseparable ever since. Their love story had captured the hearts of family and fans alike, simple, pure, and deeply rooted in faith. As Josie slipped on her shoes, she received a call from Jinger Duggar in Los Angeles. "Josie, you're getting married. Can you believe it?" Jinger laughed through the phone. Josie smiled, holding back happy tears. "I know. And guess what? Jess is in labor right now." "What?" Jinger gasped. "Oh my goodness, on your wedding weekend?" The Duggars really don't do anything small. Both sisters burst into laughter, realizing how perfectly Duggar this day had turned out to be, full of love, surprises, and chaos all at once. The miracle of 2 little hearts. Back upstairs, hours passed as Jessa endured the most intense labor of her life. The contractions came closer together, and Ben held her hand tightly, his own heart racing with worry and awe. Then came the first cry, sharp and sweet. "Congratulations, Jessa," the midwife said gently. "It's a boy." Jessa sobbed, her hand over her mouth. "Thank you, Lord," but just as she was about to rest, another contraction hit, stronger than before. The midwife's eyes widened. "There's another baby coming." Ben froze for a moment, his eyes darting to Jessa. "Another one?" "Jess, are you?" Before he could finish, the second cry filled the room, smaller, softer, but just as powerful. "It's a girl," the midwife announced with a joyful smile. Tears streamed down Ben's face as he looked at the 2 tiny miracles in his arms. "A son and a daughter," he whispered. "God gave us double the blessing." The whole house erupted in cheers as Michelle and Jim Bob were called in to meet the newest Duggar grandchildren. The family group chat exploded with messages, from Jill's excited "praise the Lord" to Joanna's "can't wait to meet them." Even Josie, still in her wedding dress rehearsal, received the message. She gasped, tears filling her eyes. She had twins. Oh my goodness, Jessa had twins. It was official. The Duggars had 2 reasons to celebrate. The wedding bells ring. The very next day, while Jessa rested at home surrounded by her newborns, the family gathered at a small country chapel for Josie's wedding. The sky was painted with gold and pink, and the gentle sound of a violin filled the air. Josie walked down the aisle on her father Jim Bob's arm, her lace dress trailing softly behind her. The moment she reached Caleb, their eyes locked, 2 souls promising forever before God and family. The vows were emotional, filled with faith and love. "Through every storm and sunshine, I promise to stand by your side," Caleb said, his voice steady but emotional. Josie replied with tears glistening, "And I promise to love you as Christ loved the church, unconditionally and always." When the pastor pronounced them husband and wife, the room erupted in applause. Confetti, laughter, and hugs filled the chapel. The reception afterward was filled with music, dancing, and Duggar-style joy, large, loud, and full of laughter. Family reunion and emotional moments for the first time in years. Nearly all 19 Duggar siblings were together. Jinger and Jeremy flew in from Los Angeles. Jill and Derek arrived with their kids. Joanna came from Oklahoma, and even Jana, usually quiet and private, smiled more than ever. Between speeches and songs, everyone took turns sharing their favorite memories of Josie, from her tiny preemie days in the hospital to her joyful adulthood. Then came a surprise video message from Jessa. On the screen, Jessa appeared in a cozy room, holding her 2 newborns wrapped in pastel blankets. "Hey, Josie," she said, smiling weakly but warmly. "I wish I could be there with you, but as you can see, I've got my hands full." She laughed softly as one baby yawned. "Congratulations, baby sister. You've grown into such an amazing woman, and I'm so proud of you. I love you." The room fell silent as Josie wiped her tears. "I love you too, Jessa," she whispered. The family joined hands and prayed, thanking God for the double blessings of new life and new love. It was a moment of unity, rare and precious in their often busy lives. The Duggars reflect on change that night. After the wedding, Michelle sat with Jim Bob on the porch of the family home. The stars shimmered above them, and the soft sound of crickets filled the quiet. "Can you believe it?" Michelle said softly. "Josie's married. And Jessa twins." Jim Bob chuckled, shaking his head. "We've got more grandkids than I can count. God's sure been faithful." Michelle smiled. "Sometimes I think back to when Josie was in the NICU, so small we didn't know if she'd survive. And now she's a bride. It's like a full circle." Jim Bob placed his arm around her. "That's what family's all about. No matter how big we get, God keeps reminding us love is what holds us together." The next morning, as the family gathered for breakfast, the laughter and chatter echoed through the house. Ben walked in carrying the twins, and instantly, everyone surrounded him. "What are their names?" Jill asked eagerly. Jessa smiled proudly. "We've named them Judah and Jubilee." Gasps and smiles spread across the room. "Judah," Josie repeated softly. "That's beautiful." "And Jubilee," Michelle whispered. "Perfect." Josie leaned over to kiss both babies' foreheads. "They're miracles, Jess." "Just like you said," Ben chuckled. 2 miracles on one weekend. I think we might have started something big." The family laughed, and cameras clicked as someone captured the moment. Josie in her wedding dress, Jessa holding her newborn twins, and the rest of the Duggars gathered around in pure, unfiltered joy. Love, legacy, and laughter in the days that followed. Media outlets buzzed with the double Duggar.